watching this, like,
No, no. You know, I love it dearly, but I want to go when it's good for everybody.
I don't like to go in and watch
Listen,
it.
you know what? It's hurricane season, so like,
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
I think it was last year, the year before, I was supposed to go, I got to the airport, same thing, the flight was.
That's fine, yes.
And then they kept delaying, and then finally at 10 o'clock, it's like, same thing, it's winter, you know, so I think October will be really like.
Yeah, Mickey.
You know, that's okay.
Yeah, it's very strange for me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's global warming, it's fine, like a garden.
Yes, yes.
It's like hot, cold.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there she is. How are you?
Vegetables and like leaves and stuff, and then it gets cold, and then it gets hot.
For my brother. My
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Michael, thank you so much. You just always put me in such a wonderful mood in the morning when
Well,
I come in and I hear you playing. I
You,
just
you
love it.
said you love ragtime, and you work so hard, you do so much, so I thought I'd play it like a rag business today.
Thank you. Just love your
Should
music.
we turn the treble on that a little bit?
So welcome to UUCCN, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Central Nassau. I am Anita Coddington, and I serve on the Board of Trustees.
Is that better?
Today's service is led by Reverend Sharon Pataki, and she is joined by musical director Michael Sansanino. Reverend Sharon Pataki is a recently ordained interfaith, interspiritual minister through One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York. She has been a dedicated member of the South Nassau Unitarian Universalist Congregation since 2005. In January, she stepped into a new co-ministerial role at her congregation. Welcome back to UUCCN, Reverend Sharon. We are people worshiping together from many paths who are brave, curious, and compassionate thinkers and doers. We are here to help one another through the difficult work of seeking meaning, acting for justice, living with integrity, and walking with one another in peace and love. We hope that this hour, set apart from daily concerns, will renew our spirits, strengthen our love for one another, and embolden us to bring reconciliation wherever we find division. It is good to be together.
Good morning, everyone. Come as you are, whether you're feeling grounded or unsure, joyful or heavy-hearted, or maybe a little bit of everything. Whatever you're carrying today, there's room for it here. This is a space where we honor our shared humanness, where questions are welcome, complexity is explored, and all parts of ourselves have a place to belong. We don't ask you to leave anything at the door. We simply invite you to arrive open-hearted and curious. Together we create a space of connection and reflection. You are welcome here. I see you. We are here on the ancestral lands of the Merrick. We were put upon Turtle Island to be caretakers, to gather in a good way, to be with Earth's children in all of their forms, those of the land, the water, and air. Let this land acknowledgement be the beginning of our return to unity. Let us be guardians of the waters, air, and earth, the four-legged, the flyers, the swimmers, the crawlers, the mammal people, the green, the rock people, and all of the created world. Let harmony and kindness guide our actions and be manifest in our hearts. Now we light our chalice to illuminate the truths that live side by side, kindle the courage to hold what is unresolved, and to guide us as we sit with the hard questions and honor the fullness of our experience.
All right, yeah, so you don't need your hymnals right now. I know there's a number in there, but you don't need, because there is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm going to keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere, right? You don't need to look at a book. You can look at each other. If you're going to stand up, stand up. Come on. If you're going to stand up, stand up. And you know, and there are more verses, more other good stuff besides more love somewhere. But I'll tell you what those are. And so take your empty hands and keep
morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Gonzalez, and I'm the chair of the Worship Arts Committee here at UUCCN. It is our tradition to light a candle with the intention of world peace every week. And I'm reminded today when I was thinking about what words to say, of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, who said we should distinguish between the negative peace, which is the absence of tension, and the positive peace, which is the presence of justice. And so I'd like to read for you a brief excerpt from a letter that Mahmoud Khalil, a political prisoner being held by our government, wrote to his newborn son. One day you might ask why people are punished for standing up for Palestine, why truth and compassion feel dangerous to power. These are hard questions, but I hope our story shows you this. The world needs more courage, not less. It needs people who choose justice over convenience.
Now's the time we engage in our responsive reading. Love is at the heart of our values.
We promise to live our values every day with love at the center of all things.
Equity is the value of our inclusive community.
We believe in the inherent worthiness of all.
Interdependence teaches us we are all connected.
We will only remain whole when we live as co-inhabitants of the world.
Justice is essential for peace and building a beloved community.
We will work to dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions.
Generosity expresses compassion, gratitude, and hope.
We will offer our faith, ourselves, and our resources.
Pluralism encourages respect for diverse beliefs.
And allows us to be curious as we learn from one another.
Transformation allows us to adapt to an ever-changing world.
We are evolving and growing. We are never perfect.
Oh, you go.
It is now time for our announcements. Of course, you're all going to stay for Sweet Tooth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What kind of soup we have today?
Lentil soup. Okay. Please mark your calendar for an event that is very important to our congregation, our annual member meeting on June 8th. It will immediately follow Sunday service. We are looking for members to join our leadership, as well as to talk about the issues facing our congregation and to vote on the budget for the congregational year that starts July 1st. A brand new year for us. If UUCCN means a lot to you, make sure to be there, donate, and to participate. We also hope to see you here in Friends Hall on June 1st for the RE, or Religious Education Sunday, an intergenerational Sunday service led by the children in the RE program. And mark your calendar for our Juneteenth celebration on Sunday, June 29th. Reverend Patrons, next office hours will be Tuesday, June 10th at 1 p.m. We will discuss possible plans for our congregation. Come and join the discussion. At our most recent meeting, we brainstormed a number of initiatives to help us move forward, including family games at UUCCN to take place one Sunday a month after services. This was an idea by Leslie Lieber. I signed up, I hope you will too. It's a lot of fun. We will have cards, chess, checkers, and other board games for adults and Scrabble. Adults and children, sorry. I was thinking Scrabble because that's what I like. Okay. Look for a survey to our members and friends asking for your input. The Stewardship Pledge Campaign for next year, for 2025 and 2026, is underway. All members should have received a rack card and a donation envelope in the mail. If you did not receive one, there are some on the visitors' table in the back. To be a member in good standing, you have to make a financial commitment to support UUCCN. If you have any questions or concerns, please speak to me or another board member. To all members and friends who have made a pledge or a donation, thank you so much for your support. Our book club is reading Firekeeper's Daughter. It's a novel by Angeline Boulley and meets next on Zoom on Tuesday, May 27th at 8 p.m. Check the UUCCN email for the Zoom information. The summer is fast approaching. Every summer, the congressional year takes a formal break and moves into a slower pace. Spiritual growth continues all year round, even though we may be more relaxed. We invite you to share what is in your heart and on your mind by leading or coordinating a summer service. There are so many topics to choose from. Our faith, world religions, poetry, arts are all good examples of what's possible. We will work with you to create something that we can all appreciate and enjoy. A special appeal to those who have never led a service before. Take a chance. Lead a conversation. Share favorite poems or readings. Share a passion. Talk about something you've learned about your heritage or another culture. Tell us about a new hobby or interest you have developed. Show a video or slides in lieu of a more formal service. This is an opportunity for us to deepen our relationships with each other, to have fun, and to work with each other in new ways. There is a place for everyone. And Michael Sansania, our Director of Music, provides or coordinates music for each service. We will provide you a draft order of service as a guideline, but it can be changed to suit the topic and the format that makes the most sense for you. Elizabeth Gonzalez can help with any questions you may have. And that's it for announcements. And we will go into now our offering and thanksgiving. As always, thank you for your support of UUCCN. Your pledges, your donations, your volunteering sustains our congregation as we are 100% dependent upon our members and our friends and guests. Please give today when the ushers pass the collection plate, or you can use a credit card on our website, uuccn.org. One of our traditions, as you know, is to share our Sunday collection plate with another organization whose work aligns with our values and principles. For the month of May, we support the Living Legacy Project. The Living Legacy Project leads pilgrimages to important sites in the American Civil Rights Movement of the 50s and 60s. The group seeks to challenge, inspire, and equip people from diverse backgrounds and identifies for justice work in their communities and beyond. UUCCN has a special connection to the Living Legacy Project. It was co-founded by a trio. Our dearly departed Minister Emerita, Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, her sister and current UUCCN member, Dr. Denise Marie Johnson, and Dr. Gordon Gibson, Reverend Dr. Gordon Gibson. Please help with this important work by giving today. If you're sending a check, please write Share the Plate May on the memo line. Thank you again for all you do to support our congregation. We are truly grateful and truly blessed by the generosity of our community.
is the time in our service where you can take the time to stand up and share a joy or concern with your fellow congregants.
Can you hear me? Yeah. On this Memorial Day weekend, I am so grateful for the work of my ancestors. I grew up in World War II, and it was near LaGuardia Airport, which was a target, supposedly, of the enemy. So I grew up with very frequent blackouts and drills, air raid drills, and very aware that there's a war going on. My grandmother was so distressed because my uncles were fighting man-to-man combat in Okinawa, and she was afraid for their safety. So they fought in Okinawa, and Uncle Joe was a chemist making fibers in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and Uncle George also was on a ship. So there was all, but I felt very protected because my ancestors would be fighting the bad enemy, and I would be safe, and I would live a very happy life. And here I am.
Yeah.
And I thank them. And it's such a blessing that we're all here today, and no bombs are falling on our head. And here we are, and we have at least a little peace for a few moments right here and now. And there's a mission of our congregation to promote more peace. So thanks for letting me share my pride in my ancestors who helped to keep us safe.
Thank you. And I didn't know about LaGuardia. You told me something new. I didn't know that LaGuardia was a target of the enemy.
Well, that was my belief. You know, as a little kid,
Yeah.
but, you know, what is the enemy going to do but target airports?
Right.
So there'd be blackouts, so they couldn't see. The
Yeah.
enemy came very close.
I know.
My Aunt Baby, I didn't tell you about her. She was a nurse in the Army, and she was stationed at Bellevue Hospital.
Mhm.
It was a major hospital in New York City.
Yeah.
There were German U-boats captured on Long Island,
Yeah.
and Aunt Baby and her fellow healthcare providers took care of the sailors that were captured.
Wow.
They were given medical care. They were put in prisons,
Yeah.
and they were treated humanely,
Yeah.
according to Aunt Baby. I believe her.
Yeah.
Yes, but the enemy was really very close to us.
A lot of us don't realize that. I know. Yeah.
This is
But
a-
thank you for sharing that because, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. You look lovely too. You look wonderful.
With my holiday earrings,
I have to say that, I have to borrow those earrings.
Yeah.
I love them. What a wonderful story, beautiful. Well, I have two joys. First joy was, last week I gave a concert for the seniors, which I love. And it was, they attended, there were about almost 100 people there,
Good.
which was really lovely. And to see them and to say, you know, I always come away feeling great about what I do. But what they do for me is even more, so they make me happy. My second joy is my robin redbreast on my patio. I think you heard about it last week. Gave birth. She had 3 little blue eggs, and now the 3 little blue eggs are little birds who are like waiting for the mother to come and feed them. And they have their wings, and I think they're going to fly out next week. I cannot believe it. It's like, you know, as I said last week, like I gave birth to these birds. It's just so beautiful to watch the progress and to see nature. It's such a miracle.
Right in front of you.
It's right in front. It's just lovely, really. So that's a joy. We have a lot of sorrows, and I don't even want to go there, but I'm so grateful that we are living in this greatest country in the world, and it is the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, I just returned from North Carolina and South Carolina. Virginia. Because I was down celebrating graduations of my grandchildren. And of course, I missed Anita. She was away gallivanting in Milwaukee. What's his name? What's the name of that?
It's just south of Spain.
Huh?
Bing Crosby and Bob Hope told us.
Yeah.
It's just south of Morocco. Where is it? It's just
Yeah.
south of Spain. Yeah.
Yeah. But the wonderful thing that I did experience down south was at my grandson's graduation, they did a very nice acknowledgement, land acknowledgement, which I thought we were unique in ourselves in doing this, but there are other communities that are doing it properly. And they spent a good portion of their congregational address was on the commencement about Native American culture. It was really very impressive. And of course, I'm happy to have Anita back.
Thank you.
I just want to say I have enjoyed two of my cousins on different parts of my dad's family who were married this week in different parts of the country, courthouse ceremonies. I'm not sure if it speaks to the economic precariousness of the times or what, but they were very small weddings and I wasn't able to travel. But for Marcos and Emily, who were married during the week, and for Victoria and Zach, who are getting married this morning, just my best wishes.
Would anyone else like to share?
Well, I'll share. I'm really full of joy. My daughter's home from the first year of college, so it's just, fantastic.
That's great.
Thank you.
There's no more penny. They did away with the penny. Oh, they did. Now they can eat one. Well, of course, the penny, I think, it's pennies from heaven, so that's from the, I have to imagine my penny will maybe in 20, 50 years.
Penny for your thoughts.
Penny for your thoughts. Yeah. And remember the poppy.
Yep.
Remember the poppy.
All right.
We have poppies every memorial to remember my father, Joe. He fought in World War II along with his other three brothers. All at the same time. Could you imagine my grandmother?
I remember this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, when I graduated and I wanted to go into service. I had to go into service. I was sent to Korea, so I was sent to Korea, and in Korea, I didn't know what to expect. And they told me that I would be in charge of a section there I'm a periodontist, by the way. And I found it very emotional to be here in another country at a time when we didn't know what to expect from the rest of the world. And it was a very it was a very trying time for me to adjust, and I did, and I tried to deal with the soldiers who were there in Korea, and it was a memorable time for me.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, and thank you everyone who has shared. Has everyone spoken that wants to speak? I'm going to share a reading from very ancient Book of Wisdom on Taoism. It's from the Tao Te Ching, This particular version is translated by Red Pine, and it's relevant to the topic of the sermon today. So let's just take this in and then take a moment to reflect on what it means for you. All the world knows beauty, but if that becomes beautiful, this becomes ugly. All the world knows good, but if that becomes good, this becomes bad. Have and have not create each other. Hard and easy produce each other. Long and short shape each other. High and low complete each other. Note and noise accompany each other. First and last follow each other. Sages therefore perform effortless deeds and teach wordless lessons. They don't look after all the things that arise or depend on them as they develop, or claim them when they reach perfection. And because they don't claim them, they are never without them. Just take a moment of silence and reflect.
So I'm going to take a moment to tell you a little example of how community works. Because you know that usually what I do is I read the sermon title and I try and find a song to go with it. And while I'm grateful that Reverend Pataki is going to talk about embracing opposites and holding them at the same time, and I couldn't think of a song about it, and I looked in my reference books and I couldn't find a song about it, so I was just going to play a little music, and just like they do in most congregations. And I walked in here and Phyllis said, from your chair right there, you said, this is the song you should sing. Here's a song about holding opposites and valuing the opposites at the same time. So I'm going to sing it, and if you want to sing it with me, please feel free. Every time it rains pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella, take your umbrella, turn it upside down, and save them for a packet of sunshine flowers. If you want the things you love, you gotta have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies Don't you know each cloud contains? Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from? You'll find your fortune falling. You'll find your fortune falling over town, all over town. Be sure that your umbrella, be sure that your umbrella is upside down. Save them for a packet, save them for a packet of sunshine and flowers, sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, if you want the things you love, you gotta have showers. You got to have showers. So when you hear it thunder, so when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me.
I can't resist asking for the floor to share a thought. When I was doing my doctoral dissertation on stress, I learned that the Chinese symbol for crisis is identical to the symbol for growth, because embedded in every crisis, there is the opportunity for growth.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. When I was thinking about this sermon and what was going to be part of it, the first thing that came to me was, we are living in strange times, aren't we? We're living in uncertain times when the truths we once trusted, especially those beyond the walls of our personal lives, have grown blurry or feel incomplete. And even in the quiet intimacy of our own hearts, truth rarely arrives with simplicity. More often it shows up tangled in contradiction, inviting us into deeper reflection. Because truth is rarely simple. It's layered, it's messy, and often alive with tension. We can know something to be true in our hearts and still feel pulled in the opposite direction. The more fully we live into our experiences, the more we find ourselves navigating conflicting truths within us. We might find ourselves laughing through grief. We may love somebody fiercely and still feel deep frustration. We may fear the next step and yet move forward with courage anyway. Life is full of these tensions, not to be solved, but to be held. This practice of holding opposites is, I believe, a sacred art, a deep spiritual discipline, and in the world we live in today, perhaps even an ethical necessity. And this experience of paradox, of holding multiple, sometimes conflicting truths, isn't just a personal one. It's something the world's spiritual traditions have long embraced. Across cultures and centuries, faith has often meant living with mystery rather than certainty. In the Christian tradition, paradox is woven through the heart of the story. Jesus is described as both human and divine. Strength is revealed through vulnerability. Death leads to resurrection. These contradictions aren't meant to be solved, but sacred tensions to be lived into. Taoism, a philosophy I've been drawn to for some time, offers a deeply nuanced approach to holding opposites. At its heart is the principle of the Tao, often translated as the way. Rather than resisting contradiction, Taoism invites us to notice and embrace the dynamic interplay of opposites, understanding that each is essential to the other's existence. We see this beautifully expressed in the symbol of yin and yang. And if you're not familiar with that symbol, it looks like this. I'll hold this here. Yin, the dark swirl, represents the receptive, inward, feminine energy. Yang, the light swirl, symbolizes assertive, outward, masculine energy. These aren't moral opposites, and they're not in conflict. They're complementary forces that are constantly in motion, always shifting and interdependent. And if you look closely, you'll notice that each contains a seed of the other. In Taoist wisdom, opposites are two sides of the same coin, constantly transforming each other. These and other Taoist teachings remind us that paradox is the natural way of things. And as we become more present to this quiet dance of tension within ourselves and in the world, we may begin to notice how it shapes us. It can soften our edges and expand our empathy. And it can help us meet the complexity of life with compassion rather than reactivity. Paradox shows up everywhere, not just in scripture or philosophy, but in nature, in community, and in the unfolding of our daily lives. Individually, we experience these tensions in emotional and spiritual ways. It might look like feeling immense love for your child while also desperately needing time for yourself. Or coming to terms with an aging body even as you grow more grateful for the wisdom that time brings. And these same tensions show up communally as moral, cultural, political, and relational paradoxes that shape how we live together. Many of us have felt them right here. We strive to create spaces that are safe and inclusive while still making room for freedom of thought and expression. We want to honor our past while staying open to what's next. Again, they're not problems to solve. They're truths to live with. Across traditions, paradox is treated as a doorway into humility, deeper understanding, and ultimately wholeness. It asks us to let go of easy answers and live in the questions, and to be transformed by the very act of holding what seems unresolvable with honesty and care. These tensions aren't just abstract ideas or communal challenges. For many of us, they've been lived intensely and painfully in the most personal moments of our lives. I've come to understand the sacredness of paradox not just through study, but through experience. One of the clearest examples in my own life came through the long and difficult journey of my father's illness. My father was diagnosed with lymphoma in the 1970s when I was in high school, and he lived with cancer for more than a decade. By the time he died in 1988, I was in my 20s and newly married. The treatments back then were harsh. Chemo was brutal, and the side effects were poorly managed. After years of recurring illness, transfusions, and complications, my father contracted HIV from contaminated blood, something we understand much more clearly now than we did then. His final years were filled with suffering. By the end, there was very little of him left that wasn't marked by pain. During this last week, my family stayed at his bedside in the hospital. We were there to support him and perhaps in our own awkward ways to begin processing what was happening. I spent most of those hours praying that he would pass. And I remember feeling deeply guilty for wanting that. We weren't a family that talked openly about emotions, and I didn't know how to hold that prayer alongside the love I had for him. When he finally took his last labored breath, I remember the sensation clearly, feeling the life force leave his body and then noticing something in myself, a softening. I could breathe again. In that moment, I felt a wave of relief, and shortly after, a wave of grief. The two arrived together, side by side. A little while later, my brother and I stepped into the hallway. We stood there in silence, and then he turned to me and asked, "Have you ever read the Egyptian Book of the Dead?" I remember thinking it was such an odd thing to say in that moment. I gave him that classic younger sibling look and muttered no. But looking back, I think that was his way of handling the strange, unbearable reality we had just shared. And over the years, I've come to find humor in that moment, how absurd and human it all was. There were so many conflicting feelings to hold then, and how I wish I'd had the spiritual tools and bits of wisdom I carry now. Practices that would have helped me understand that holding those opposites wasn't a failure or a contradiction. It was real and natural and different expressions of love. Over the years, I've come to see my experience in the way that paradox shows up in our lives, not as something to be solved, but as something to be danced with grace and trust. If we return to Taoist wisdom, we find words that speak to this so beautifully. All of this is from the Tao Te Ching, the book that I just read from before. To be whole, let yourself be partial. To become full, let yourself be empty. To be reborn, let yourself die. This next passage speaks to what I now understand about those long hours at my father's bedside and the quiet relief that followed when his suffering came to an end. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this, but few put it into practice. At the time, I had so many questions without answers and emotions too complex for words. I've come to appreciate the wisdom in this line. To know that you do not know is the highest wisdom. To pretend to know what you do not is a disease. And finally this. Being and non-being create each other. Joy and sorrow arise together. Longing and release depend on each other. This is the sacred art of holding opposites. To embrace paradox not as a threat to clarity, but as a path to deeper truth. To let both things belong without fixing or choosing, and without needing one to cancel the other. So let's take a pause here. I invite you to take a breath that makes room for everything living in you today. Is there a place in your life where you're holding two truths that seem to pull in opposite directions? Can you name them gently without judgment? Can you let them sit side by side without rushing to resolve them? Maybe it's joy and sorrow, longing and gratitude, fear and trust, relief and grief. What if both belong? What if, like yin and yang, they're not in conflict, but completing each other? Let yourself rest here for a moment in this space where opposites meet. I've spoken about our personal experiences, those moments when we find ourselves navigating the tension between opposing feelings or forces. And I've touched a bit on how paradox shows up in our communal life. I'd like to spend a little more time there. We're living in a time that often makes no room for contradiction. We're pressured to choose sides quickly, to be certain, to reduce complex realities into simple categories, right or wrong, good or bad, with us or against us. But spiritual life invites something different. It asks us to pause, to stay with discomfort, to listen beyond our first reaction. And while the practice of holding tension begins within us, it doesn't end there. It's also deeply ethical. Because when we learn to hold contradictions within ourselves, we expand our capacity to hold them in others. We begin to understand that multiple truths can live side by side. That we can feel anger at injustice and still have compassion for those caught in unjust systems. That we can name harm and still recognize the humanity of those who cause it. This is hard work. And it speaks directly to our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not just the ones we agree with, or the ones who are easy to love. In a polarized world, the ability to hold opposites without collapsing into despair or retreat may be one of the most radical spiritual practices we can offer. It's not about choosing one side over the other. It's about creating a space wide enough, deep enough, and brave enough for many truths to coexist. I'd like to leave you with a well-loved parable shared across several Eastern traditions about a group of blind men. Some say they were seekers, some say sages, and they were asked to describe an elephant. Now, none of them had ever encountered such a creature before. So they each reach out, relying on the hands to tell them what their eyes can't. One touches the broad, flat side of the elephant and says, "Ah, it's a wall, solid, immovable." Another wraps his arms around one of the legs and declares, "No, it's a tree, thick and rooted." A third grabs hold of the trunk and exclaims, "You're both wrong. It's a snake. It moves and coils with a life of its own." Still another feels an ear and insists it's a great fan, wide and fluttering in the wind. And the one who holds the tail laughs, "You're all mistaken. It's a rope, nothing more." A debate breaks out as each one clings to their truth because what they felt is real. And yet, each one holds only a part of the whole. What none of them can see alone is the full picture. This parable reminds us that different perspectives can all be valid and still incomplete. It teaches us that our experiences may contradict someone else's, but that doesn't make either of them untrue. In fact, it may be that only together, through curiosity, humility, and deep listening, can we begin to see the fullness of what is real. And isn't that what holding opposites invites us to do? Let the mystery be larger than our certainty, to open a circle wide enough for many truths to belong. I'd like to invite you into a very brief ritual, if you're open to it. And it involves taking one of the index cards up here and one of the pens or pencils, and we are a little shy on pens and pencils, so if you have one with you, maybe take it out. And what I invite you to do is on one side of the card, well, first of all, let me ask, do people want to engage in this? Yeah? Okay. So I'll just tell you what we will be doing with these cards. And on one side of the card, write a truth, a feeling, or a situation that pulls you in one direction. And on the other side, name something that pulls in the opposite direction. So again, on one side, a truth or a feeling or a situation that pulls you in one direction. And on the other side, naming something that is pulling you in the opposite direction. Doesn't have to be long or complicated. Whatever is true for you, it's enough. Let's just take a little time to reflect and write. If you can't finish that now, don't worry. But the invitation is when you've finished writing on that card, is to just hold it between your hands and notice how it feels to hold both truths at once. To just notice. If it helps, maybe refer back to the yin-yang. Yin-yang, the reminder that opposites are partners in a shared rhythm. wish, you can place your card in your pocket or your purse, or simply continue to hold it in your hands. In concluding this ritual, here's a short blessing. May the truths you've named today stay with you gently. And may you carry a little more compassion for all that you're holding. May it be so.
You know, we can stay sitting down as we sing this. It's 3-5-2. And we don't usually sing it here, so I'll play it once. So we can hear it before we sing it. And while I'm playing it, you can just continue to breathe slowly and breathe with each phrase. Okay, and then we'll sing it.
Thank you, Michael. As we prepare to leave this shared space, it's my hope that we carry with us a deeper trust that life is not always either or, but often both and. May we grow more willing to stay with the tensions, to listen for the truths we don't yet understand, and to hold our contradictions with compassion. Let's walk gently with ourselves and with one another, and make room for all that's unfinished, all that still belongs. And may you be held by it, even as you hold it. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, nor the warmth of love, or the glow of sacred paradox. May the light we carry within make room for joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt, and all the in-between places where truth lives.
I can't enjoy the glowing springtime skies when I'm gone. And I can't comfort anyone who cries when I'm gone. I can't be singing louder than the lights when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it when I'm here.
Very nice, thank you. Very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
What's cooking?